Hello, all heroes, and welcome back to Invincible Guarding the Globe. Bet y'all thought I was going to miss a video today. Bet y'all thought that since the Switch 2's coming out tonight that I was going to sleep in because of, the midnight release that I've got to have energy for. I probably should be doing that. Ugh. Anyways, it's probably fine. Today, we are going to talk about the current restricted arena in Multiverse Arena, because this is an interesting one. Because the current restricted arena is melee. Now, basically what that means, if it's not already obvious, only punching. Only people who are close range. No long range weapons of any kind here. So, what's interesting is not only the characters this allows, but the characters that this disallows. So if we take a peek at the heroes here, I first want to pull up range just so we can take a look at what is not allowed. I mean, you can't use Universa, obviously. Can't use Russ, can't use Seismic, can't use Adam Eve, can't use Robot. So a pretty prestigious number of characters that have been knocked out by this particular tag. But if we take a look at the melee tag, it's an interesting story. We've got a lot of options. So, as opposed to going over every hero like I normally do, I'm going to go over the team that I am using and the team that I'm seeing a lot of other people use. Am I blurry or is that just me? No, we're fine. Totally fine. Because there's actually a surprising number of heroes that you can use. So, nice thing is, for my purposes, only one character changes from my main lineup, that being Universa. Everybody else is, rather hilariously and conveniently, still the same. That being Anissa. I've got her over level 1000, all of her skills maxed out, in particular that human enemy stat, which is very nice. Got Thula over here, also over 1000. All of her skills maxed out. She's particularly nice because whenever any Viltrumite drops dead, she will go crazy on them. Invincible, of course, the man himself. Once again, all max skills. The only disappointing thing is that this last line of defense ability is not triggering in any way, but that's really no different from like my current team. So that's just kind of a thing that I'm just having to live without. And then, of course, everything else here is maxed out as well and as effective as ever. And then Conquest, the man that I wish I had level 1000 because, like, he works great in this team now. Imagine if I could get him to level 1000. I've said it before, but since my team is kind of a blitz-style team typically, I give him the Burger Mart Burger so he can be kind of a pseudo-healer. I have seen a lot of people talk about the Burger Mart Trash Bag, because not only does it decrease a random stat, but it also applies damage over time equal to a very high percentage of the wielder's defense. So yeah, I can definitely see where the love for that is coming from, because Conquest, being a defender, has very high defense. In fact, that would put his defense over his attack by a pretty wide margin. So that's my four that I normally have on my arena team anyway. Nothing too crazy there. But here's the interesting thing. You never really notice until you get restrictions like this, but there's not a lot of melee supports. There is Green Ghost and Red Rush, neither of whom are healers. Red Rush, thankfully, is a very good character, and Green Ghost is good too, not to mention the case file makes her very much gives an incentive to build her. But she only has some light healing at best, and even then, it's very rare. Like, I think this ability right here is her only healing ability, if I'm not mistaken, and it's got a mega cooldown. Like, because the main gimmick is that she can make other people invisible. The healing is kind of a little side benefit. So, not a lot of healing there. And then Red Rush, he's more of a debuffer slash team buffer, so he doesn't really do a whole lot by way of healing either. He more so debuffs the enemy and protects your allies, but doesn't really heal them. Both of these characters are pretty good, though. Darkwing 2 is not good. I don't know. To this day, I don't know what his purpose is. He heals himself a little bit, but as a support goes, he is truly terrible. Now, Shapesmith, on the other hand, Shapesmith is fantastic. Shapesmith is a great healer, but he's also only a month old. He's brand spanking new, and we've only had like one other event where Shapesmith was accessible aside from his new character event. So while he is by far one of, if not the best melee supports in the game, unfortunately, he's not realistic. So if you have to choose a support, it's probably going to be either Green Ghost or Red Rush. If I had to pick one, and they were both like equal level, I'd probably pick Red Rush if I'm being honest. But I don't have Red Rush, so Green Ghost will do just fine. Nice thing with Green Ghost is that she can grant invisibility to herself and her allies, which, I mean, Red Rush does that too in the form of invincibility, but invisibility is a close second place, so I'm not too worried about it there. Some other characters that I've been seeing used, because that's kind of the thing, is there's a lot of options, but there are a few mainstays. Alan. My boy Alan is getting a lot of love in this arena. Quite frankly, he gets a lot of love in any arena. But with his particular skills, he is extremely good. If he's fighting against any heroes from Not of This Earth, which would include other Allans, he gets an extremely chunky energy resistance and energy damage boost for himself and his allies. He's got an extremely potent death save here that can literally win you the game on a good day. I have had it to where I almost won by a sliver, but I didn't realize he did not trigger his adaptation ability yet. He healed, and then the tiebreaker got me killed. So yeah, this bad boy can really help you out. And then of course this, while maybe not quite as important, I mean, it's still stats. When he gets below a certain HP threshold, it's chunky stats. So he is a stat ball and a really freaking good defender that a lot of people are using. Also, the Immortal. A lot of people using the Immortal. Probably because of this skill right here. If you get it maxed out, it completely removes the cooldown, which means whenever an ally gets healed, the Immortal receives 10% of the healing effect. Now, it does come with a caveat of there's not a whole lot of healers in this current arena meta, or arena restriction. So this maybe ain't as useful as it could be. I mean, you can still give, there's still artifacts. You can supplement with artifacts, and that can work. But it's still a bit tricky. But all of his other abilities are very well. He does have an immunity shield, just like Invincible does. This ability right here can reduce the damage received from Viltrumites. This one's kind of rough for my team. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. It would be rough if I didn't have Anissa. Anissa just shreds the defense of all humans. The Immortal just gets turned into a lore-accurate pancake. So, okay, yeah, this is good if you're not fighting an Anissa. My Anissa kind of shreds the Immortal. And then this ability right here is got a quick cooldown and a nice stun. So, just, while he's not technically as good as Alan, he's still good. He is still quite good. I've also seen some people using Battle Beast. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I've got my Viltrumites cranked up, I probably would be using Battle Beast. Thing with Battle Beast is he hits like a gosh dang truck. He gets Life Leech against Viltrumites. He applies wounds, and then this ability right here, it reduces his defense by a little bit, but it gives him a dramatic attack damage, not even attack increase, just a raw damage increase. It's very good. He can really shred some people. The only problem with Battle Beast that could be a problem in this particular arena is that he kind of requires a healer to really go crazy. And, well, as I just stated, the melee restricted arena does not have much by way of a healer. So, run him at your own risk. Speaking of which, let's talk about artifacts, because artifacts can actually go a very long way in this particular mode. First of all, I already showed it to you on Conquest, but the Burger Mart Burger remains one of the best artifacts to this day. I love putting this on my defender, in this case being Conquest, because he's meant to take the brunt of the damage if at all possible. And then when he drops below a certain HP threshold, he heals your allies by a very chunky amount and increases their attack. And that's not even with level ups. Like, this is a level 9 burger. This burger can get better than this. A level 1 burger is fantastic, and, years later, when they actually give out parts, it can be even better. Also, GDA Healing Gel. When a hero applies any buff to an ally, it also applies a healing over time effect equal to 85% of their defense stat. Yeah. This thing will turn any buffer into a healer. Namely, that would probably be Green Ghost and Red Rush. If we take a look at Green Ghost here, of course, she's got her invisibility effect, which would make it give much better healing, which is not bad at all. Let's see here. Does she have? She doesn't really have a whole lot more buffing. Let's take a look at. Take a look at Red Rush here. Let's see. I mean, honestly, Red Rush is kind of the same thing where it doesn't do a whole lot of buffing. Once again, Shapesmith really takes the cake here because he actually does consistent healing. And he can, with his main ability, he can increase your allies' attack and lifesteal, which is pretty dang good. The problem is, Shapesmith, he's too new. We don't have him. There's not a lot of Shapesmiths floating around in the world. If you have Shapesmith, put the GDA Healing Gel on him. If you don't, and you're running Green Ghost or Red Rush, the GDA Healing Gel is still not a bad idea, but there's other options. Speaking of other options, the Medical Headband, it's not nearly as potent as the Healing Gel, but it is dramatically more reliable. This device triggers an area of effect, healing all other allies present inside for 20% of the damage received. So basically, 20% of the damage they've taken, like if they've taken 100 damage, they heal 20, effectively. It is not a mega heal. It is not the craziest heal in the game by any metric. But it is better than nothing. And in a game mode where there just straight up is no healing, it can be pretty useful. Cerulean Cosmos Flower, another one that, while kinda niche, is useful in this case because even though it does not trigger very often, it does apply this healing over time effect equal to 15% of the hero's current HP, which is still pretty good healing and is kind of a nice little pseudo death save if you do get below that 25% marker. So, yeah, that is basically the gist of this arena. Like I said, this is by far one of the most diverse. Like I said, for me, I'm still using my Viltrumite core. I mean, Athula, Conquest, Invincible, Anissa. That does not change at all. Although, ironically, I still use a green woman. It's just Green Ghost and not Universa. So, kind of funny how that works out. So let's see if we can get through these 3 fights real quick here. This one will be pretty easy because I've got a massive stat boost on them. So we're just going to plow through it. Alan is very much the one thing that gives me trouble because that man is tough to kill. Alan does not... Oh, I might help if I actually turned on auto. Alan does not go down for nothing. You can even see he took a lot of punishment there before he finally went down. So that was a glorious victory. And then let's do pork chops here. Let's see. This one does technically beat me out in stats, but the thing with Monster Girl is that she just perishes in the face of Anissa. Yeah, right there. She's done. And their Invincible followed closely by their Battle Beast. Yeah. That's the problem with Battle Beast, is he needs healing. If he doesn't have healing, he has a tough time. I have seen some people use Omni-Man. I think that's more a product of the fact that some people just don't have the options of, like, Tula and Anissa and Conquest, and Omni-Man is a good hero that is regularly accessible. That's my theory. And he is still pretty good. It's just he loses to my other characters. But yeah, so that is pretty much it. That is the current arena. Next week's going to be Malefactors. That one's going to be very interesting. And then from there, I'm probably going to have a very good time. but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, let me know down in the comments below how your arena teams are going and if you enjoyed the video, and we shall see you next time. Have a good one.